Yaps. It's in the name. Russia is fucked.
Bad news for Vladimir Putin. India just turned off the tap in a
And you guys said, there are so many people say, Elliot, India will not stop buying oil from Russia. They are our best friends. Why would we stop buying oil from Russia when they are our best friend? This is why, bitch.
massive geopolitical shift. New Delhi has announced that it will stop buying Russian oil as part of a historic new trade deal with the United States.
Because that Venezuelan gas is cheaper, my friend. Hey, come over here, my uncle. He got a lot of oil. He got a lot more than that Putin guy over there. We don't got that accent? I'm sorry, okay? I'm not good at accents.
This is a catastrophe because now China is the only thing standing between Putin and
I can do a pretty good Hispanic accent, though. Because my last name is Rodriguez.
an economic collapse. Telegraph reveals that China is now covertly bankrolling 60% of Putin's war efforts. But this support
Div, I can be whatever you want me to be.
comes at a steep price. Putin believed that he was playing the West. Turns out he was being played by Beijing. It started with this tweet from President Trump after the US-India trade deal was signed. Trump says that India has agreed to stop buying Russian oil and to start buying American oil instead.
I need statistics. I need Ranji. I need you guys to tell me what your thoughts on this immediately.
Probably Venezuelan oil too. Trump's message: this will help end the war in Ukraine. In exchange, the US dropped
Come on, bro. I don't speak the English you spoke. You're telling me when you don't make fun of Americans, you don't bring out this kind of accent? Because I sure as fuck would. You speak English because it's the only language you know. Not true. I also know Spanish. We speak English because it's the only language you know. Okay? Well, todo en español.
its tariffs on India dramatically. Before this deal, India faced roughly 50% tariffs, 25%
calling me out?
from Liberation Day, and another 25% as punishment for buying Russian oil. After the deal, the Indian tariffs is roughly 18%. That's a massive incentive.
It's
India
all
chose
Western.
cheaper
Yo,
access to
Wally
the
Gaggers over
American
there.
market over
What, yo, get that out of her, son. Get that. Stop your wallygagging over there. Can't be clapping them cheeks in that corner out in front of everybody.
discounted Russian crude. Here's
Yo,
US
crazy.
Trade Representative with more details.
Cut tariffs on Indian goods to 18%, down from 25%, moving closer to a broader deal expected by March. What can you tell us about that? Is India really going to shift away from buying Russian oil?
You Nazi?
And committing to buy up to $500 billion in U.S. energy and aircraft and technology over the next 5 years?
The short answer is yes. They've already started winding down their purchases of Russian energy products. They've started ramping back up purchases of American energy and energy from other sources. We've talked about oil from Venezuela. Remember, before 2022, the Indians did not really procure Russian oil. It's really an artifact of the Russia-Ukraine war and the discounted oil they could get.
Ban him.
They'd get oil from Russia, they'd refine it, and they'd sell the gas to the Europeans, right? I mean, Europe and India essentially were underwriting Russia's war in Ukraine. But India is really committed. They've already started expanding some of their commitments with respect to purchases. They've taken down some digital services taxes they had on us already.
I was kidding.
This is going to be a really important deal, and it's going to reverberate for many years to come.
It's a great.
For Putin, this is catastrophic.
Don't the Germans like their schnickeldoodles? The schnickeldoodles and the sausages? Bro, our geopolitics is so good. At the same point, our inner politics is completely opposite. What are you talking about? Expand on that, because I just feel like the Indian political system is just so corrupt. So is the American one. I'm not saying it's any better. I just think all political systems right now are corrupt.
India wasn't just any customer. They were Russia's second largest oil buyer. China is already buying all the Russian oil it can handle. They don't have the capacity to absorb what India was purchasing. There's simply no replacement customer large enough. Russian oil companies know this. That's why over the past 2 weeks, they've been offering even bigger discounts to Indian refineries, desperately trying to convince them to keep buying Russian oil. But it's not working. Indian refineries are now shifting to other suppliers. The result? Russian oil output is falling. They are producing less because they...
So this is interesting. Russia's crude output. So like Russia would send crude oil to India. India would refine it and sell that to the rest of Europe. That's an interesting like third party or middleman kind of situation. And now I guess Venezuela is sending crude oil, and I guess at a cheaper rate, and India is now learning how to refine that oil.
have fewer buyers, and the oil revenue makes up a
Geopolitics is so good. We see America, Russia, Europe allies at the same time. Okay, so like you're saying, in the world of geopolitics, you're aligned with a lot of different countries. Like you guys are almost like the Sweden.
massive portion
Time
of
for my morning bathroom. BRB.
Russia's
Take your
state
time.
budget. The same budget that Putin
Don't
is
fall in.
using to fund the war in Ukraine. That budget was already at 5-year low, and now it's shrinking even more. Putin knows how bad this is, and he's not taking it quietly. A clip from last year's summit is now going viral, all thanks to Russian propagandists. In this clip, Putin essentially threatens India. If Modi's government won't deal with Russia, the Indian people will find a new leader who will. Take a listen.
If India stops buying our energy, damage will be inflicted upon them, like to $9 to $10 billion. If
That I thought Russia was your friend. Why would a friend speak to a friend like this?
they
That's what I'm saying. In the grand scheme of geopolitics, all things are fair in love and war.
decline to buy energy from us, the Indian people will look at what decisions are made by the political leadership and never accept any humiliation
Because at the end, it's geopolitics. Yeah,
before anyone. And also I know
no one is
Prime
your true
Minister
friend.
Modi,
Not in politics, because in politics there's no person. They're conglomerates of people, and the more people there are in your political circle, the higher the chances that the human sins, whether it be pride, envy, gluttony, sloth, greed. I don't know the other two off the top of my head. I think there's even 8, but like just higher probability that those are going to expose and show themselves in some kind of light. The ideology also changes. Yeah, I mean, the ideology changes with every prime minister, with every president, with every role change. A new person comes in. Maybe it's a new vision or a slightly different vision that's just changing the degrees by 1 or 2%.
he will never take any steps of the kind.
And
That's why I think like statistics, the idea of like streaming, what we're doing now. I am not a part of the government. Obviously, you're not a part of the government. I hope. We're just two actual human beings having a connection, talking about Russian shit. Neither one of us are Russian. You know what I mean? We're actually the connectivity the internet has given humanity is actually kind of insane. You're at the FBI. FBI, open up.
it's not just oil. The entire Russian economy is in trouble. Russian newspapers are now openly discussing the crisis.
Newspapers in Russia continue to write extensively about the country's economic problems. A headline in today's Moskovsky Komsomolets: cucumbers for the price of avocados. In January, the price of cucumbers shot up by 42.85%. Tomatoes by 20.72%. The Russian government paper Rossiyskaya Gazeta reports that, according to official statistics, in the period from the start of 2026 to the 2nd of February, consumer prices rose 2.11%, one of the highest figures in recent years. Rising prices make it into the joke section of Komsomolskaya Pravda. So as not to shock customers, price tags for new cars will state the price of 100 grams of the car. Nezavisima Gazeta reports that the gap between pensions and wages in Russia is growing. Average pensions in Russia are rapidly decreasing in relation to the average.
I wonder how long the pension system is gonna last. I'm fully planning on working my entire life for the social welfare system to completely be fucked by the time it's set for me to retire. I know in France, there's a video that we could watch later about how the pension program destroyed France's economy. I think the same thing's gonna happen to Russia. I think that idea of a pension plan going forward, because we've allowed so many immigrants, so the growth of humanity has happened at a rate that it is not it's not sustainable.
Salaries.
Hearing
from which
bloops? That's not
contributions are
Discord,
made to
that's
social
Twitch, I think.
insurance funds. Pensions in Russia fell below 24% of average earnings. What's more, according to the Federal Statistics Service, in 9 months in 2025, total losses of Russian companies increased by 25% and reached 6.52 trillion rubles. During this period, 18,400 organizations made a loss, which
That's
is
your Discord
11%
notification,
more
Sif.
than the previous year. Wage arrears of enterprises have also increased sharply. At the end of December, wage arrears in the country increased to 2.02 billion rubles, which is 14.5% more than a month earlier and 2.3 times more than in December 2024.
When state-aligned media starts admitting problems, you know the situation is severe. So, who's keeping Russia afloat? Well, you might know the answer.
Who?
That country is China. They're extracting a heavy price for lending this helping hand. According to the Telegraph, China is now covertly bankrolling Putin's war to gain leverage over the West.
Interesting.
Chinese supply lines feed directly into Russian drone factories. And according to open source analysis, 60% of Russia's war efforts is being directly financed by Beijing. Russia can only maintain this war because China is paying for it. According to British intelligence officials, China's goal is clear: use its influence over Moscow to distract NATO while Beijing builds up its own military capabilities. Russia thinks it has an ally. In reality, it has a creditor, one that's collecting interest
Yep, and it's gonna want its dues back.
in ways Putin
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, man, they're just fronting this war. That way, when it's over, they're gonna come back and collect their dues.
never anticipated. Because
Okay,
here's
maybe-
what
maybe.
Russia is giving China in return for that lifeline. And it's not just money flowing one direction. Leaked documents from Russia's military-industrial sector reveal a massive escalation in military cooperation. Moscow is transferring critical military technology to Beijing, technology Russia spent decades developing. And here's what the document shows. Attack helicopters. Russia is delivering 48 Ka-52M attack helicopters to China between the next 2 years.
What notification
These
are you guys
among
talking about?
Russia's most advanced combat aircrafts, the same helicopters they are using in Ukraine.
Discord isn't even
But
open.
It's not just finished weapons. Russia is transferring production technology itself. A contract signed in 2017 between Russian defense entities and China's Norinco Corporation involved transferring technology to produce spherical propellant, critical components for ammunition manufacturing. The deal sat dormant for years because China wasn't paying for what it promised. But then suddenly, in summer of 2024, the project was revived. Payment issues resolved and implementation began immediately. Here's the most alarming part. Russia is now training Chinese specialists at restricted military facilities. In June 2025, Chinese
I just find it so interesting that China can have these deals with people, payments not go through, and then all of a sudden they come back with their, their currency, their money, and they're like, okay, now we're ready, and no one just, I don't know.
engineers completed
World, like global politics and these global wars, it's crazy how long this Russian-Ukraine war has actually gone on. It's insane.
a full production training at Russia's Perm powder plant. They learned the entire manufacturing process, raw material preparation, component dosing, chemical formation, and quality control. Russia isn't just selling weapons, they're teaching China how to build them independently. The war has completely reshaped the China-Russia relationship. Moscow has now become the junior partner, dependent on Beijing's market, Beijing's money, and Beijing's political support. Russian defense companies are fulfilling contracts at a loss just to maintain access to Chinese buyers. They're not profiting, they're surviving. And for Russia, this could come back to haunt them. Here's more details
Dragon?
from Sarah Payne.
Xi Jinping now holds all of the cards.
AKA
China
Spyro.
has 9 times the population, 9 times the GNP of Russia, and their per capita GNPs are converging. Not good news for Putin. So I think the question isn't whether this bromance is going to last forever, but rather when it's going to end. When is Xi Jinping going to decide he's got the right amount?
If you're saying no, it'll never end between Russia and China, look at Elon and Trump. Those guys were the best of friends at the beginning of this term. Now look at them.
The leverage to get whatever it is he wants.
Not so much now.
I think what's going on now illustrates the perils of getting your primary adversary wrong. Nicholas II fought a recreational war against Japan, the Russo-Japanese War of 1904-1905. He is pouring resources into
They were a
really
good
an
couple.
irrelevant theater in those
They were like a
days.
Hollywood
Instead
celebrity
of taking
couple.
those resources and putting it into a railway system that European Russia desperately needed to face off Germany, which it does within the decade and loses. He is overthrown in part because of bread riots in St. Petersburg, because no foreign aid can get in because he has inadequate railway system. They'll be built later, and they'll be good for Lend-Lease. So he and his family wind up shot in a Siberian basement. It takes a decade to play out. So I don't know how it's going to go for Vladimir Putin on all of this. If we play our cards right, maybe he'll go away and is lonesome. We have to wait a long time.
One of the problems with making videos like these, where we show a lot of drone strikes, even if no human or Russian soldiers are getting hurt in the video, YouTube usually demonetizes or restricts our videos.
Yep.
In fact, in the last week, we had 4 of our videos get demonetized.
Oh, you guys too, huh? You guys too. I know how that feels.
According to YouTube, showing drone strikes or even footage from the front lines is not advertiser friendly, and that
Fuck the advertisers, man. Like, stop. It's so gross of them trying to censor reality of what's going on in the world because of they're worried about advertisers not advertising on their platform. You're YouTube. You're the biggest platform. Suck my dick. If your name is YouTube or Barreling Horses, you could suck my whole lot. India is going to do what's best for India, as it should. Good call for India. Yep. Thanks, India. That helps a lot. Better late than never. Wow. I was expecting people to be like, oh my gosh, you know, India and Russia are best friends. So glad India is coming around. Good India. Opportunistic scammers will be back buying Putin's black market oil in a minute. The price is lowered even more.